Well, I think if you want dump box and a truck, I can probably look towards that, because the truck is used 12 months a year, the dump box, probably 12 months a year too. The excavator, when the money isn't there for it, Mark, I have a problem spending every last dime on it, that's my opinion, and I'll shut up. Go ahead, board.
When you have to rent an excavator, how much is it?
Or $4,000 a month.
$4,000 a month? How many months a year do you add, how many months a year would you use an excavator? 12? 6?
Could use it 12, probably more like 10, because we've been doing a lot of projects right up till snow flies, right up Thanksgiving usually.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime, this winter was just crazy, of course.
How much money did you spend on rental of excavator last year?
Last year, probably, we were at, how many months, roughly?
How many months we had it?
Because
Most of summer it was here.
It used to be almost all summer because they had the CHIPS program. We got behind because of the flood stuff, so we had that all going.
You can find some decent used ones for 50 to 60, I say, with those magazines. Would you be opposed to used one? I mean, I know you don't get the warranty, but you can get a
We've been seeing that.
decent one for 100,000 less.
50 grand ain't getting you much, because we had a couple of them here, and they spent more time on the trailer going back.
Well, I think we should keep some of that FEMA money.
I think, I want Paul to come next month with month-by-month rent on excavator for all of 14.
But I think the truck is something we should be looking into, and a dump box probably also. The only problem I have with a dump box, you put a $40,000 box on a, but if you can interchange it to another truck, that's a good part. I mean, that's good thinking on that. So the box is probably, you've got 2 stainless or 3? You got one that isn't on yet or being in the process of. So that makes number 3.
Yeah.
So this would be number 4. The other 2 have worked out well. The one on Paul, let's see, your truck's got a
He's got the
stainless,
He's got the front discharge.
right, but it's
Well,
got the stainless steel
Yeah.
tank, the truck, so it's worked out well. It's been
the stainless part
so
is,
far,
Pretty new, so, but so
right,
far.
but so far it has.
Kobe's actually got the first one.
Oh.
This stainless is so much better. Number one is just the maintenance on them.
I'm just, how we're, we've had them, you seem to like them, okay, then it's something that we, they could, and as you said, it's interchangeable onto another truck if this one,
All of our frame lengths are the same,
same, so.
within that
Right, within,
rough area.
it could be interchanged to another
Yes,
truck,
it could.
yes. I mean, I guess that's my big concern, is not tied to a $10,000 truck, you put a $40,000 body on it.
You don't want to be able to yank that when you're.
Right, and put it to another truck, which is good, that's good.
You threw out the number of $50,000 for a new dually pickup, and you said you were gonna keep the 2003 and possibly send the 2006 through the auction.
Last time we were at.
How much might that bring being
10
auctioned
grand.
off?
10
10?
grand plus. The last one we did was older, was the 03. We were at 10 grand.
And the 2003 is in better shape than the 2006?
Yeah, because that's the one that, the 06 is the one that we were using all the time before the dually, the Ford.
Okay.
It's the one that I
Good.
used.
It's got flatbed dump on it, or has that got an actual box?
No, they all got flatbeds that we have built.
Now the plow and sander will go with the truck, or do you need new ones for this?
We'll add that as we go.
You wanna go? Yeah.
Yeah. And like, some of the manufacturers get a little upset with us, but we like to build our own boxes. We can get the profile down on them. We do them a little different. And we actually do them at probably at the same amount of money, but they're more workable for us. You see most of those 550s.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everything's up around your neck, you know, where the way we got this set up, it's down around your waist, you can work off of them. Just handles the loads a lot better. Especially that one, that's nice and stable, that's way better than the Chevy dualies are.
Right. It's more truck.
So, yeah, was it, you want a 1 ton or ton and a half?
550,
550?
yeah, be 550 or that 45 from the Dodge Series.
Okay, well, now, what's the board wanna move ahead on this, get some prices, Mark, or get some more information? You got information on the dump box. The truck is really out in limbo for what might come in on.
Gonna do the truck in the box, make a motion that we put it to bid. I'll set up a set of specs, and if I can't get them completely done for next month, then.
Oh, okay.
But it'd be nice to get that stuff before
Started.
winter instead of,
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna do a box.
yeah.
Yeah, right. So we have a motion to the effect of putting the specs and bid out for the truck and the dump box.
Yep. Yep.
And then we have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Right.
Carried. Okay, and we'll
It's
see
for
where
the
the
dump box, not the truck.
truck and dump box.
Pick the dually truck.
Yeah, the dually truck, the 450, 550, whatever. Heavy duty dually. Okay, anything else, Mark?
No, as soon as the weather breaks, they're gonna survey one more section out on the gravel pit.
Oh,
Mike's working on that. They dropped the figures way down. What happened was they went to Albany and talked to the people straight up. Finally got somewhere with somebody up there. DEC's going through a whole thing in that division where they put a bunch of new people in, so everything's by the book. That's why some of the information wasn't coming back like it should be. But we went down to 44.
44,
I think it was.
44 or 45 in that,
Someplace in that, instead of the 8,000.
instead of the 8,500, so.
They're gonna do the survey themselves, that was gonna be
Right.
$2,200. So, you know, they're doing it, so that took out a lot of the pricing on it. And
Yep.
like Mike said, I apologize, he says, I put that bid high because that's, would have been the high way out there. And then when I talked to him, I said, you know, because of the procurement policy and stuff, and we went back, reworked it, plus he had gone to Schenectady to talk to him about the thing, so.
Well, thank you for that.
And then,
And that's for the gravel bank.
Gravel
Getting a
bank
permit
permit.
for the gravel bank.
yep, and once that's done, I'm actually not supposed to be in there at all to get anything out until that's done.
Oh, get to work, Mike.
Yeah, get to work. Jesus, by the looks of some of our roads, we're gonna need a lot of stuff, so. Is that it?
This is only April, beginning of April. What do you anticipate being an equipment need between now and the end of December? Besides what you've talked about?
Those three right
Is there
now.
anything else that may crop up that you're,
Just rental on like a dozer. Because we gotta do some work. What I gotta do is I gotta reclaim. It's gonna be probably about 2 acres in the gravel pit. We gotta do that. We gotta do some pushing off, strip off top of that. So that was what, another $4,000, wasn't it, for the month?
3,000, the last time I said, what? I saw a $3,000 bill. I said, for bulldozer, what's that for? I looked it up.
Yeah, that was, so it'll be that.
Through sewer.
Hopefully, nothing, yes. They've been treating us very well.
everything else is in pretty good shape at this point?
He did it
Last
now.
month, we didn't last month, no.
Yeah, tried to stack of that bill, some things weren't going too good this last month, but that's what happens. I mean, you get 6 months of what we put up with, you know, been doing everything, it's going good, and then all of a sudden, little things start creeping up, and,
Well, some of the roads that you're driving on, I'm sure is not helping.
no, terrible. you know, not just mine, you know, everybody's fighting the same thing,
Everybody's
county,
the
state.
Yeah.
Tough winter, that's all I can
Well,
say. Yep, so. Okay, is that it, Lisa?
Yeah, I would like to try to preserve as much of that FEMA money as you can in anticipation of maybe buying an excavator next year. Or if things look better towards October way, maybe. But I think it's beginning of April, I hate to deplete that highway budget down to negative numbers at this point. Yeah,
Early in the year.
it is, I mean, you're only third of the way.
One thing with the company that's selling the Cadalco, they said if we bought that, we could rent it instead of actually buying it. And then all that money would go towards the purchase price.
So if
When
you rent to
decide
own,
Basically, yes.
What would the payments be?
County, whatever on the county
Oh.
rental.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
why don't you come back with
That's
some definite
another
information for
option,
next month
just
with
to-
that then?
you know, something that
And
we
that's
don't
a
have to
better
deplete.
sounding-
I forgot to bring that up.
That's a
He-
better sounding scenario than
Yep.
negative numbers.
That was one
It
of the
depends
ones
on the
that we liked.
figures, you know, on the,
Okay.
what
So
it's
rent to
cost.
own, and that would be still a brand new machine, and,
You know who's used it,
well, you have, yeah.
right?
And this excavator, I don't know how big it's gonna be, because I didn't quite catch that, but everybody that you have can run it? Or is there
Yeah,
only
two guys
specific
can.
people can run it, or is it
There's
anybody can use it?
Specific people, let's not put everybody in.
Well, that's what I'm asking, I
guys.
mean, you have enough
Start out
people to
with
run
one or
it.
two, but
Okay.
they
You
can
what?
train.
Okay.
Tram and a rental.
Well, you're paying for the repairs on that too.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, the main thing is more than one person can run it, that's the main thing. It's not something to buy just for one person, and if they're out sick or hurt or whatever, it's sitting there for nobody. Okay, well,
If
thank you,
we,
Mark.
if we don't go ahead and buy one this year, do we have approval to just go ahead and rent one if we need to then for some bigger projects?
I'm sure that we will approve it, but we're not gonna give you a blanket right now, Jamie.
We gotta
But
walk.
we will, I mean, we have before, so we will again, that's not an issue, I'm
As
sure.
soon as I get the permits done for that, we gotta go to Chamberlain Hill, we had
Right.
a washout there, so we gotta get that fixed.
Yep.
And then,
This size machine, you can move it with your
Yeah.
trailer.
that was the whole thing with this. Figured out what the trailer would take, what we've been renting. Now, that 35,000 pound machine works the best for what we're doing. Moving it around, our trailer,
So that's what you've been renting, is that size machine?
yeah,
So it's just, you know, you said once, you might have to get a bigger one for different pipes or something, but then you went to box salt culverts, so. You know, I didn't know that you had always been renting this 35,000 pound unit. So the trailer is, you can still move it around, you can still do that, so that's good. That's good. Okay, any more questions on that? Rec committee,
Well, I guess they found a director,
that's good,
For the pool,
you know,
is it?
he
good.
did.
that's been Joanna.
Huh?
I see Joanna last, 28th, at the Maple Weekend, she said again.
We found a director for what?
The pool.
pool.
The pool.
And it's Joanna or somebody else?
Oh, God, you'd have to ask the name, wouldn't you?
I heard some names thrown around, but Marlene didn't say.
Yeah, I look, get back to you.
Okay. The planning board, we had a special use permit, or a public hearing on Thursday, last Thursday, for a wedding venue up Post Road. Yeah, no, I think it's on up, not on up, oh, it could be Jim Orr, not legal, no.
Randy Levitt.
Yep. And there's concerns, so the planning board wants to have, he lives in California. So the planning board asked
for him.
that the representative would find out what Randy wants. So the planning board can make adjustments, you know, they can set hours, they can set days, they can set, you know, with any special use permit. There was one concerned neighbor that came to the meeting, and, voiced his opinion. He didn't like it down at the pond last year. Too noisy, too much, all that.
Well, to give you some background, my phone rang off the hook one weekend.
That was it then.
Yeah, and there was some
Buses
pretty
parked on the road and
blocked the road
it was
for the
not a good
weekend.
thing.
And
Yeah,
he had been told that he needed to do something. I know when our last code guy was there, they had it out a couple times. He just thinks he can do whatever he wants.
Well, the planning board is looking into the special use permit. Buses cannot be parked on the road and the parties can't be held at the pond. So they can be held up at, he wants to redo his barn for like 100 people wedding venue or something.
They gonna park cars on the road?
Nope, they got a parking of a meadow that's off on the side. That, there's another, that's stipulations the planning board can put in, that it's gotta have new access to the parking area, some lighting, there's a lot to it yet, but they wanna find out what Randy Levitt wants before they say, well, you only have one event a month, because it's a rural area, and they don't want somebody that, the concerned neighbor who's there doesn't want somebody having a wedding every weekend of the summer. It kinda takes away from their weekend. So it's concerns that the planning board will have to address at the next meeting. Then there's gonna be a public hearing, I believe this coming month, in May, for a medical office here on Walton Franklin Road on 21. They want to get a special use permit to use a nurse practitioner, Greg Jakowski, and he wants to open it up to, open clinic. And they want to take the trailer and garage out and put a new 28 by 60 mobile home or double wide in for the offices and open a medical clinic out here on 21, which would be a great idea, I think. And that's a special public meeting in May. And that'd be the 7th, I believe, of May. And there's a simple subdivision on East Hanson Brook. City Historia or something like that. One of the neighbors, he was the one that came for the public hearing on the wedding venue. And it was his mother's land, subdividing like 10 acres off a 30-acre parcel. So it was a simple subdivision and done. And that was a business of the planning board. Is there anything else to come before the town board? Any other questions for the town board?
June is coming up real quick, and last I checked, Constitution's planning to start construction then. So are we gonna have a town road use ordinance before they
That's
start
what
work?
this new lawyer firm is gonna, I just got it in the mail, or Connie just gave me one, and I picked up one on Friday. The new road use agreement. You wanna take a copy and look at it? Well, what they're presenting, I've got another copy. This is an extra copy.
I can stop by Connie's
Here.
office. Is she gonna
Well,
have a
if
copy?
she can, there,
Why-
Connie, you wanna hand it to Brian?
If she has a copy, she can give me a copy and she'll have one there for others.
Well, and
So
I've got a
that's my
copy
vote.
too. I got another copy of mine.
Okay.
It's something that Mark has looked over, and I think the county has looked it over, and I know our new legal representation has seen it and wasn't too impressed with it. So tomorrow I'm gonna have it, faxed or whatever to the new firm, and they can jump into it.
See this for a second.
That they've had the expertise, they've worked with pipeline companies in Pennsylvania, and that's why we thought we'd switch, because they've had experience with Windsor, and they've had experience in Pennsylvania and municipal law, and, it's, time we probably, I was happy with Joe Armetti's representation, but this is just getting stickier and stickier. And it's just, it's something the board felt that we should do. And that's why we did it. And that's, we're gonna give it to her, and she said she'll take it and run. And hopefully you'll meet with them, and, as their sales pitch was, I can go down there, and I don't know, Adam from Eve, on what you really wanna do and how you wanna go at it. And they feel that the legal representation gives them more, don't start down here, let's start up here so we know where we're going and get it done. Now, it made sense to me, whether it's right or not, we'll find out.
I believe this is gonna come up tomorrow. There's gonna be a presentation
Okay.
tomorrow. Wayne's gonna,
Oh, Wayne's gonna, okay,
yeah, because he has gotten the same thing as
right,
I got, and he was punching holes on it, pretty good.
yep, well, that's what I understand, it's, I'm just a layman. I can read it and not tell you, so that's why we have, the engineer from Delaware County looking at it, and Mark, he has more knowledge than I do of it, and our new representation tells us they have a lot of work done, they've done a lot of work on it, so we'll put it hopefully in the right hands and protect the town.
So does that only cover county roads, not state roads?
No, it doesn't,
This one, the way this is being presented would be the town of Franklin's roads.
right, down.
And
So
then,
that includes 357's
no,
portion?
No,
no.
Is there any way we can
It's,
influence what happens with that? 'Cause that's
well,
such a
actually, the
major
county has
artery.
control of that.
So-
county's gonna take care of their roads. That's what theirs will be based around their roads. They're helping us with what our roads, would be based around our roads in the state. Who knows?
Well, the one meeting I went to, the way I understood it, was that actually the county, well, on 357 anyway, going up the mountain, the county actually owns
There's
the road, the land under the road. It's
there's,
not with the state, so that, that's what I understand it as. So it's more, the county has control of,
yes.
on 28, because it's not coming across 357. And they're traveling it, yes, but they're not coming, burying under or ditching through or whatever. But,
There would never be a chance you could actually run the pipelines down 357? Take them off the
There's-
It's
rate?
not this one.
there's talk of it, coming down into the village and going to Treble Corners and going to Treble and then to Fraser's. But it's a real,
feeder.
it's probably not,
No, I mean the whole show, going down
No.
357. There's your swath, there's your,
well, there's so many different,
the heat would keep the snow off the road.
well,
And the people.
I don't think the right of ways are defined clearly enough to go that route. There's different, the road is moved a little bit, all of a sudden the right of way's on the other side of the road. Well, how do you cross the road to the pipeline? On the other side. I think there's more issues than what we know, and it's just unfortunate. But, because then we could have it in a village. But, I hopefully we can get, if it does happen, that we can at least get the village with natural gas.
I want
benefit.
septic before I get gas, sorta, you know what I mean?
Yep, well, and
Former century.
but that's, I guess,
If they did that, that'd be the perfect time to do both.
Exactly,
That's right.
they went down three, that's what I mean, give us the whole show,
yeah,
make them pay
Yeah.
for it.
right.
Is there a budget line for these lawyers to manage this? kind of-
Actually, there is not. We haven't had to use lawyers in years, so we haven't got, I don't believe there is a budget line for some, yes. But talking to these lawyers, they really painted a nice picture.
Sure.
And some of their previous agreements, they've had funds that actually the pipeline has paid legal fees. And I said, if you pay half the legal fee, I'll be happier than hell. Get something out of it. And we're hoping that, we've got the right people to force a hand and get something out of them.
Can we get well testing money for our well testing for the citizens?
We can always throw it in. You know, that, she said, you know, ask for,
She said, ask for what you wanna ask for, cause you don't ask for it, you're not gonna get it.
Exactly.
I mean, it's gotta be somewhat realistic.
Well,
That's a question, that's a question we'll ask.
yep, yep,
Thank
we
you.
will.
That'd be great.
Who would pay for the piping if natural gas was piped into the village? Would it be the landowners?
Who would pay for it?
Yeah.
I think what I understood from Leatherstocking, they would actually put the main lines in, and then the feeder lines to homes and stuff would have to be, you know, they'd only go so far, and I don't know what the footages is.
I think it's 100 foot.
They go 100 foot, or whatever, I mean, even if they go from the feed line, you know, that expense might be the homeowner's back end. I really don't know, you know, maybe it's 100 foot as Brian said, maybe it's, you'd think a lot of 100 foot from the curb would get to the house pretty close.
But
A lot of
ultimately, the customer's gotta pay for it.
My property
You pay
is
for it
only
with fees.
200 foot long,
Right.
so I could put it to the back of the garage,
I mean, you know,
so.
there's so many variables.
Taxpayer money then?
No, I don't
for the
believe
town
so.
of Franklin?
I don't believe so.
It
See,
would
the
be
village is
individual
completely,
Private homeowner.
right, or the village,
paying for
I mean, the village is a completely separate entity. They don't have zoning. You know, they're, you know, they're their own business, government. You know, they do care, you know, take care of all their, you know, issues inside. It's just like the reservoirs up in the township, but not in the village. But, you know, I'm sure they own the property or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, but most of the, you know, the village is a separate entity that governs themselves. We have communication, but there's no control. Village doesn't have control over the town, and town doesn't have any control over the village.
You know, I brought this up at the village board meeting because of, I don't know how successful we'll be with saving Bissell Hill Springs, that is
Mhm.
part of our water
Right,
supply.
right.
But the road map, that what the CP is gonna use, their truck, the heavy equipment road map, and there's still some infrastructure, there is still some piping that comes from the spring down into the old
Right,
out.
right.
And I mean, you know, as somebody said to me, that, well, they haven't been crushed before, there's been heavy equipment, but if we were gonna do a road inventory, was there gonna be some kind of road inventory done before they start working, so if there's damage, you know, to include that? You know,
I
would that
think
be the town or the
I would
village?
think that'd be the village,
Oh,
because that's,
darn.
no, I mean, realistically, it's villages.
But
they,
it, but
you
it,
know,
as it crosses, you know, as it comes down and is under the roads
oh,
there,
under the town road. Well,
Yeah.
It'd be nice, you know, it'd be good to, I'm sure,
have note of it.
note of it and stuff, yeah, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
agree, but
And by
to,
any chance, does anybody know, is that a lead pipe?
no idea, I don't know how long
I
it's been
mean,
in there.
there's,
No.
How many
It's not lead.
generations has it
Pardon?
been there?
I don't know,
It's
I
not-
don't know.
It's not
It's
like,
not lead.
It's not?
Yes, all right.
We've dug it up a few times.
I'm sure.
So it's not lead. Well, the reason that I asked, in the 2009 DEC thing that described our aquifer, there were tests, there was water tests of 18 sand and gravel wells throughout the Tri-County area, and also bedrock wells. And the sand and gravel of the 18, 16 of them had outliers, some of the stuff off the charts. You know what Franklin's was? Radon and lead. And
Trevor's
in
not too
all
far
of the
off.
sand and gravel wells, the radon, you know, we were the highest, but the sand and gravel actually came out higher than the bedrock wells, what you might expect to have
Right.
radon in them. So just, you know, and then I got into the whole radon thing, I was looking at that, but I think
That's a whole nother issue.
it is. Well, but I
Okay, is there anything else to be brought before the board?
Can I make a motion right now?
Motion has been made.
I'll second that.